Eliot Marshall is a former professional UFC fighter, a prolific competitor who entered the world of mixed martial arts in 2006, competing in tough competition and in signing on with the UFC. Over his fighting career, Eliot has been awarded Pan American Silver Medalist, Pan American Gold Medalist twice, Pan American Champion Super Heavyweight Brown Belt, USA Team Trials First Place and Second Place, Grapplers Quest Bronze Medalist, International Brazilian Jiu Jitsu Federation Open Purple Belt First Place, Open Purple Belt Absolute Champion, Brown Belt Super Heavyweight Champion, and Open Weight Champion, Pan Am's Brown Belt Champion, Third Place World Championships. Also, the GQ North American Championship. He's the open weight champion, GQ USA Trials 200 to 210 champion, the number one rated absolute weight grappler of the year, Ring of Fire light heavyweight champion. He was on season 8 of the Ultimate Fighter reality show. And he stands with a 17 wins to 5 losses MMA record. In 2011, Eliot decided to hang up his gloves and become an entrepreneur. He opened up a fight training center in Denver that has multiple locations around the state, and also became the head coach of the Elevation Fight Team, one of the country's most highly regarded MMA teams. And he's on the podcast today. Eliot, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
Good, Chris. How are you, man? Thanks
Good,
for that nice intro.
Yeah, I almost lost my breath reading all your awards. That's pretty impressive.
I've been really lucky in my life.
Yes, very fortunate. I'm going to talk to you more. You know, we had an Olympic coach on the podcast talking to us about winning mindset versus champion mindset. And I want to dive into that today because there is a difference. I, as a kid, was not taught a champion's mindset, but a winning mindset. And I think, you know, there's a few subtle differences that most people don't understand. But first, like I heard, Eliot, that your fighting career started back in the day when you saw Karate Kid. Is that true?
My martial arts career started in 1986 when I kicked a lamp in my house. I did the crane kick, you know, and my parents were like, and then we opened the yellow pages and there was a guy flying through the air doing a kick. And I thought he was actually flying because I was 6 years old. And I said, let's go.
Let's do it.
For all of you listeners that don't know what the yellow pages are, there was this book where you had to get phone numbers to call businesses and people.
Everybody under the age of 30 is like scratching their head right now.
We had white pages and yellow pages, right? White pages was residential, yellow pages was businesses. I just remembered that. Yeah.
I remember, yeah. But you didn't start off, like I know you have an extensive career in Jiu Jitsu and Muay Thai, but you didn't start off in either of those. You started off in something I actually had never even heard of, Subakdo. Is that correct?
Subakdo. Yeah.
What in the world is it?
It's just karate. It's just Korean karate.
Okay.
There wasn't any in America. There really wasn't Muay Thai or Jiu Jitsu in the 1980s. You know,
right.
So both of them are still primarily in their home countries of Thailand and Brazil. So
yeah,
you couldn't really do it. Nobody. The Jiu Jitsu for sure didn't come to America until the Gracies in the early 90s.
Yeah, true. And so you stayed in Subakdo. You stayed Subakdo to get until you got a black belt, right?
Yeah, I got a 3rd degree black belt, which is cool, but I disagree with as well. So
okay,
just because I don't think kids should get black belts.
Gotcha. You think like after the age of 18, black belts should come, or 21. Okay, kind of like drinking.
I agree. Yeah. So jiu-jitsu has good rules. You know. Yeah. No, 19. I think they are. I'm okay with 19 to 20, somewhere in that age. But like, you can't really defend yourself at 14 years old.
Right. Very true.
You know, like you as an untrained adult male will beat the brakes off of a 14-year-old, a normal 14-year-old kid. Like LeBron James at 14, yeah, no. But like a normal 14-year-old kid can't defend himself against a grown adult yet.
Absolutely. There's something to say about like the maturity of a body post, even post like mid-20s or late 20s.
Mid-20s. Yep.
Yeah. What is that? Do you know?
I don't know. I'll tell a funny story real fast though. I have a 12-year-old son, and he's almost 6 feet tall. Like, he's coming towards it. You know, he's like 5'10" or something.
Yeah.
And we were wrestling around the other day, and he like felt differently. I could feel a difference since the last time that I wrestled with him. And I was like, oh, look at you, bud. You're getting some man strength, you know, and we were just joking around at that time. And then like we stopped, and then he came at me. Like, he was like, oh shit. My dad said, maybe I can, he's like, maybe I can take him now. And he tried to take me, and I gave him some like real, like, it was the first time I ever gave him some real pressure, you know, like that I would give another male, adult male. And he was like, oh my God, what is this? Yeah. So I don't know what happens, but something happens. And I think real athletic male maturity comes at around 30, you know, like I think that's when people really hit their physical peak. If they are continuing to progress physically. Yeah. Like, a lot of people get fat and out of shape and all these things. But if you are in that, I think you see really great pro athletes when they hit that 30, 31 mark. And I think it has a lot to do with their mind. Yeah. I think their body is there, but when the body and mind connection sync up, there's something about that.
Yeah, I would agree. I have a goal that I'm always able to take out myself 10 years prior. So like, I'm actually the same age as you are now. So we're both in our 40s. And when I was 30, I was like, I'm certain I could take out my 20-year-old self. And now that I hit 40, you know, I'm like, I'm certain I could take out my 30-year-old self. I don't know about the stages from 40 to 50 though, and then 50 to 60, but that's just kind of like a good mindset to stay healthy, like, and on top of things.
I could at 30. But I don't think from where I was when I was 30 to now where I am when I'm 40, I mean, I was a pro fighter at 40.
You were in your prime. Yeah.
I was in my prime, right? Yeah. Like, I wasn't, this 42-year-old Eliot is not beating that 32-year-old, 31-year-old Eliot. It just, there's no way.
That makes sense. That's incredible, man. So, you did I'm going to say Subak-do until what age?
Oh, about 18, until I moved to Colorado, you know?
Okay.
And then, but I had started dabbling in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu right before I moved to Colorado for college.
Which is kind of the when Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was getting popular, right?
Bigger. It still wasn't super popular, right? Because the Ultimate Fighter hadn't happened yet.
Right.
But yeah, it was starting to get popular. It was, you know, it was catching people. Most people still hadn't heard of it. But like, you know, in the martial arts scene, everyone knew what it was.
Right. Got it. So I'm always curious, you know, I would put you, you know, I would put you at, you're a pro athlete. You were a pro athlete, right? And it seems like from the age of 6, whenever you did your first karate kick and hit that lamp, that things just kind of started to move forward with you. Did you feel like this was a natural thing? Like, this is something that you were kind of destined to do as a young child, or how did that evolve from that point to joining UFC?
This is I've literally just discovered this in the last couple of years of like, why did Eliot fight in the UFC? Because I try to be very self-reflective. Okay. And that allows me to hopefully assess myself well and show up for other people well, you know? So I really started asking this question of, man, why did you even fight? And look, I was born in 1980 to a mother whose parents survived the Holocaust, and she was white, and a father who was black. And he grew up during the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. I fit in nowhere. Nowhere. And because we lived in this little small town in South Jersey. Okay. And when we moved to this town when I was 8 years old, my house was spray painted with swastikas all over it. Oh, wow. Nigers go home. And this was just a constant, you know, this vandalism to our house throughout my life, throughout my childhood. And it continued everywhere except the martial arts school, right? Except when I did karate. And I was, you know, I didn't help myself. I was a little chubby. I was definitely a late bloomer. And look, I had literally 2 friends, the kid across the street who went to a different school, and a kid from my karate school. I had some friends at karate, but they were all much older than me, right? They just let this young kid hang out because I was just there every day. So I was literally 0 friends. And then the summer in between my junior and senior year happened, and some of my friends showed me this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu stuff. Actually, one of the older guys who I'm still friends with now, he beat me up. Like I challenged him, and he was like, yeah, come to my house. Like I challenged him in karate. And he was like, yeah, come to my house on Friday night. And I was like, fine, old man, let's go. And I had no clue that he was doing jiu-jitsu. I was like 17 years old or something, you know? And he beat the fucking brakes off me. Like I was like, oh my God. You know, he tells a story where I guess I was getting a little cocky. And after he beat me up, my dad called him and he was like, oh no. He's like, Mr. Marshall's going to be mad. You know, like he would like that I beat up his son. And my dad was like, thanks.
Like literally, or
yeah,
like...
literally. Yeah. You know? So, you know, I get in and I learn some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that's the summer between junior and senior year of high school. And I go back to school and I'm talking about it a little bit. And a couple state champion wrestlers challenge me to a grappling match, and I choke them out.
Wow.
You know? And then now look, along with in between that summer, I lost some weight. I bloomed a little bit. Right. So there's some other factors here that I don't want to say didn't happen, you know? And then I got some friends, you know, and I think a girl kissed me for the first time. And, you know, and like other than my mom, right?
Okay,
like, you know, like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And look, that's late, right? Like 17 years old, that's late for a girl to kiss you for the first time, right? Like most people have that way earlier.
Yeah.
And look, I connected in my mind because you have to understand, do you know any Holocaust survivors? Have you been around them?
Not personally, no.
They are convinced Hitler will come again.
Convinced. Oh, really? Really?
Yes. They are petrified of this, you know, and they prepare for it and they prepare their families for it. We had food in my house from 1980, you know, and it's 1995.
Wow.
You know, my dad, now you have to, again, whenever I left the house, it wasn't, look, my dad told me he loved me all the time. I'm sure he told me I love you too sometimes when I left the house, but he always told me to watch my back and make sure I was safe, because he wasn't safe as a human,
right,
and as a kid.
Right.
Right. So I have these two sides of my family where you're not safe. And then I have my house being vandalized and I have no friends. And like, so you combine all this, Eliot is not safe, right? Eliot doesn't have this very, very basic need. And Pavlov, is that his name? I don't know, the hierarchy of needs guy. Safety is not hit for me.
Yeah.
It was not there for me. Everyone was telling me I wasn't safe. And then I had no friends, and you need a tribe to be safe.
Right.
Right. Oh, Eliot beats a couple people up. Eliot gets some friends. Oh, Eliot's going to be safe in the world and have friends if he can beat people up.
Yeah.
There it is. Let's go fight in the UFC, become a champion.
That was the path.
That was it. Right.
Wow.
But now you have to, for the mind of that now going forward wasn't so good, because I wasn't fighting for money, which is the next level up. I wasn't from hierarchy of needs. Right. I wasn't fighting for fame or chicks or anything like that. I was fighting to be safe in the world. So if I lost fights, then I'm not safe. Everyone leaves me. I'm by myself again. They spray paint my house. Yada, yada. And I know that's a little deeper than
that's really good.
Like,
yeah, because, you know, we all have motivations like that drive us, and most people are unaware of them, you know, and to understand that is incredible. So I'm curious, like, what type of reaction when you did lose fights, whether it was in training or in the ring?
I didn't lose many.
Right.
I didn't lose many.
Did you have a negative reaction when you did?
No. So let's go. Let's look at it from a different perspective.
Okay.
How did I fight when I fought? I fought very safe, and I tried not to lose in my fights. I didn't try to win.
Okay.
Because remember, it has nothing to do with winning. If I didn't lose, I would have friends.
Okay.
Right. That's where my brain went with it. So I fought very cautiously, which didn't make for really exciting fights.
Okay.
You know?
Got it.
And look, in the beginning, everyone wins fights, right? If you don't win fights in the beginning, you suck and you don't get to the UFC. So, okay, you smash people.
Right. Right.
You know? But then when I started facing real competition, I was very cautious, which is not the brand the UFC is trying to
it doesn't
portray,
sell
right?
tickets.
They want death. right?
Yeah.
They want death and blood and guts and you know, that's what they want. And look, that's their brand and they can do it however they want. So
yeah,
I can agree or disagree. It doesn't matter.
So this kind of plays into what we were talking about earlier, the winning mind versus a champion mind. Also in life, like one of the I guess mantras or mottos that I follow is, you know, are you playing to win? Or are you playing to not lose? Mm-hmm. And two completely different mindsets. So could you elaborate on that more?
I didn't even have a winning mind.
Okay.
I had so I think there's actually a stage before. There's don't lose mind, there's winning mind, and then there's champion mind.
Got it.
Right. You know, so I had a don't lose mindset until for all of my professional career. I didn't figure it out until afterwards.
Got it.
The difference I would say between a winning mind and a championship mindset is a champion makes you ever see that motivational video with Kobe? He's like, the deal was made at the beginning of the summer that this is the work. You know, champions make the deal. They get real clear on the deal. How many friends did Kobe have?
Probably not a lot.
None. How many did MJ have?
Probably not a lot. Yeah.
Not a lot. How about Lance Armstrong?
No idea. Probably
None.
not a lot.
None.
Yeah.
They hate him. They fucking hate him.
Yeah.
You know, nobody can be around him. Nobody. Why?
Because they're assholes. They're assholes. Focused on one thing.
They don't care about literally anything
else. Yeah.
And unfortunately, to be a GOAT, to be somebody like that, that's what it takes.
Do you think it's healthy?
No, of course not. No, not at all. Not at all. Not even close to healthy. Look at Tiger. Look. Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is the epitome of this.
Right. True.
Right.
True.
Look at him. Look at him. He was a piece of shit, an absolute piece of shit. Yeah. And then his life crumbled, and now he's a much better human being. Yeah. But he can't really win. Yeah. So it's along with some other physical problems, right? But like he, you know, there was no physical problems from the accident when his life crumbled to the losing. Yeah. But he can't win because he lost that and he's probably a better dad, a better spouse. Look, he and his ex-wife are good again. They're not together, but they're good. So, no, I don't think it's healthy. It's awful. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's probably what it takes.
Do you think it's worth even admiring these people the way that society does?
We put too much into our celebrities and these people, right? We look at them as unflawed. I think part of, you know, we put them up on these pedestals and there's only one place for you to go after you're on a pedestal. It's not off the pedestal. It's all the way down into the pit, you know, which we did with, you know, Tiger, for example. No, it's not healthy because they're flawed humans, just like you and I are, just like every single other person is, you know?
Yeah. So go ahead.
They have their problems just like you and I have our problems. And, you know, I heard somebody on my podcast said, man, if you have a problem and money can solve it, you don't really have a problem. Yeah.
Well, that's not true. Right.
What's that? No, I think I agree. You don't have a real problem if money can solve it.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes total sense because I think every time in my life when I've put somebody on a pedestal and then got to know them personally, they disappointed me because I expect them to be, you know, I guess perfect in all areas. And then I see them flawed in all these other areas. And I'm like, oh, I don't admire this person as much as I thought I would have because of the perception that I gave them, even though it's probably inaccurate. Right. And not letting these people actually have flaws is, you know, a flaw in our own selves because
for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So can we take, you know, this was, you know, can you, and I can't yet, this is the epitome of the example almost. Can you listen to Michael Jackson's music without liking Michael Jackson?
Probably not.
I can't. There are people that can I cannot. No. Okay. But there are people that can separate, right? So can we listen to the message and the messenger? Can we detach the message from the messenger? Right. What were Michael's and Kobe's Jordan, I'm talking now. What were their messages? Hard work, incredible hard work, right? Be in the moment and work incredibly hard. You know, don't worry about the shot that you haven't taken yet. Just take that shot. Okay, can we now detach all of the other things from them?
Right.
That maybe aren't so skillful. It's so hard to do. It's so hard to do.
It is. It really is.
They made commercials. Be like Mike.
Bo Jackson, the old ones.
Right? Yeah. You know, Bo knows, right? Like, yeah, like, and we epitomize it. And everything we consume tells us to do that.
Yeah. It's a really good point. I'm super curious, Eliot, where you got, you just said not too long ago, within a couple of years, you figured out where your motivation to become a fighter came from. Where did you learn that?
To figure it out?
Yeah.
I broke down after my fighting career, you know?
Okay.
I went into entrepreneurship. I opened these schools with my business partner, Amal. Everything was going well. But I never faced these demons that I had from a childhood. I buried them down with fighting. You know, I never looked at this fear that I can experience, this anxiety, this really, really crippling anxiety that would come up in my life every 6 months, couple of years, whatever it is. And then it would go away. I would beat it down somehow. I never sat down and I never sat in hell. I never sat in the pit of hell with the devil.
Right.
And then the devil said, you're going to sit in the pit of hell. And I'm not religious, you know, but I use religious terms. So, but, you know, the devil's like, nope, you can't run from this.
So was there an event or something that happened that brought that all up?
I came home from a vacation in Maui and we had a great time. And, you know, look, I just came home. When you were here in Boulder, I was in Maui. That was my last week. And, you know, you're coming east and what happens? Jet lag, right? You know, you probably have some when you went home, you know, and you can't sleep. Yeah, you can't sleep. It's really irritating. You're tired. Well, whatever I was dealing with mentally and, you know, maybe my anxiety was a little heightened too. And it tripped. The hook got in me. And that's what happens, you know, like people that have, I have what's, you know, a type of anxiety that can lean towards what's called pure O. Okay. And everyone thinks that OCD is just, touch the screen 5 times. Okay. Touch the knob, and now I'm going to be okay. Look, that's one form of OCD. But another form is this thought OCD. And that's called pure O. And you can't get by a thought. And my thought was that I'm never going to sleep.
And that was just haunting me. And then it brought up all these other thoughts. Like once you can't sleep, now I'm going to die. Look, I had to write it down in my journal where my thoughts went at this time because of this break, you know, that this mental trip that I had. And it had happened many times. This wasn't the first time, but this was the longest. And this was the most intense. And at the time I couldn't get out of it. And look, the thought was simple. I'm not going to sleep. When you don't sleep, you go crazy. My wife will deal with this for a little bit, but then she'll leave. She'll take the kids. She'll convince the judge that I'm not healthy and I can't see my kids. And if I can't see my kids, well, then fuck it. I'll kill myself. Wow. And
literally, I wrote this down day after day after day because that helped to get it out of my head.
Right. How long did that last?
9 months.
Oh, wow. Wow. What brought you out of that?
So, I think right in the beginning of the show, I said I'm very, very lucky, and luck is what brought me out. On a Friday, it was the 5th night of maybe an hour of sleep a night. You know, a couple nights no sleep. And it was a Friday night, and I called my doctor. My doctor is one of my best friends. I'm actually going to lunch with him here in a little bit. And he took care of me. He got me some sleeping pills and some anxiety medicine, like a Xanax, right away to bring it down. So I actually got rest. And then I started taking a long-term anxiety medicine. I still take it. Now, where's the luck of that is 99% of the world can't call their doctor on a Friday night at 5 o'clock and drive to the pharmacy. Right. Most people at the point where I wanted to call the doctor, right. If he wasn't my friend, then that would have been weeks before I got an appointment. And I don't know what would have happened in those weeks.
Right.
If I didn't get a little look, it lasted 9 months, but I got a little reprieve. That night I slept 5 hours, which is way better than 5 to 6, which is, man, when you're not sleeping at all, that's massive. Right. That's massive. And then I got a therapist, and I still see her today. I'm actually go see my therapist right before I have lunch with my doctor.
Yeah.
And then I had amazing support systems.
Yeah.
I had amazing friends. I have an amazing family. And like during this 9 month, I had these 3 friends, man. I would take the pills to sleep.
Yeah.
No pill works in 1 minute. Right. And then within 1 minute, I would want to be asleep. I wouldn't be asleep. I'd start panicking that I wasn't going to sleep. I would run down to my basement and call my friends. And then literally sometimes the talking with them, their voice would put me to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then other times they would literally stay up on the phone with me all night. They like took turns. There was 3 of them.
It's great friends.
Great friends.
Wow.
Great friends.
So the healing process, I guess 9 months, bad sleep, very dark thoughts, and then calling your doctor, starting to take Xanax, therapist.
I don't take Xanax anymore. Let me be clear. I don't take Xanax every day anymore.
Yeah.
No. I have a actual anxiety medicine.
Gotcha.
Long-term Lexapro.
Okay.
And I want to talk about this for a sec, because a lot of people, do you mind if I chat?
Let's do it. Yeah.
A lot of people think that the anxiety medicine works, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm done. It's like a pain pill, right? You take the pain pill and then, okay, it goes away.
Right.
It does exactly what a pain pill does. Right. It works for a time. And then if you don't do anything to actually cure the pain, then you have to take more pain pill. Right.
Yeah.
Anxiety medicine's the same. I think the thing that we're not connecting is the anxiety med. It just gives you the space. It just quiets it enough so that you can now go do the real work on you and yourself, so that you can get out of this hole.
Okay. Got it.
That's what I believe the med is for. It is not like, you don't take high blood pressure medicine so you can eat a ton of sodium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And cholesterol meds so you can eat fatty stuff.
Right.
You have to change things in your life.
Yeah.
You can't just take the med.
Yeah.
So that was it. That was the impediment. That was the catalyst. I had to change things in my life.
So what are some of those changes? Diet, exercise,
No, I was always dieting and exercising. Right. I got very consistent with my therapist. I am not in crisis right now.
Yeah.
And I've seen her the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, I had to deal with this fear that I had, that this Eliot is not enough. Like the only thing that makes Eliot enough is if you can beat somebody up. And that's, that I had to go all the way back to that drawing board.
Got it.
And then I cried. I got scared. I was all over the place,
Yeah.
And we're still working on it. It's a constant every day. Like, okay, Eliot, what are you going to do? It's almost like an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Am I going to be sober tomorrow? Not concerned. I'm going to be sober today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I'm going to be sober today. I'm not concerned with whether or not I'm going to have anxiety tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm only concerned with today.
I was actually talking about this with a friend last night at dinner, because I think so many of us have this not good enough programming that comes from childhood, no matter what your experience is. And so the way I've worked on it is through personal development, meditation, journaling, similar to yourself. And a few times in my life, a handful of times during deep meditations, I've gone back and talked to that 12-year-old Chris when this event happened that told me that I wasn't good enough, and kind of rechange the relationship with that experience to help me deal with it now. But I think though, I don't know if we ever completely, and I'm unsure, and feel free to elaborate on this, but if we ever completely lose a deep programming like that, because from my experience, even though I started working on something like that 12 years ago, even now, and it may not feel that for, 6 months, and then a new experience happens and all of a sudden then that feeling comes back up. And I don't know if it ever completely goes away, but it's almost like learning to manage a relationship with those programs or experiences that that got so deeply ingrained in our brains and subconscious.
I think it's healthy. A little bit. Yeah. I think only sociopaths don't.
True.
I think only last week I was talking to my therapist, and I'm going down this new venture of thought leadership a little bit, right? Like keynote speaking. I'm starting to really run some retreats. And when you do these things, and look, I am the leader of martial arts schools that have 5,000 people, and most of those people are shooting in some way to be not most. They want to be good at jiu-jitsu. Right. I'm probably still one of the best, even though I'm getting older. I'm not really the best anymore, but I have a lot of respect that's given to me. Right. And that list of accomplishments that you just read at the beginning, this puts you where? On a pedestal. People put you there. So my therapist just asked me, so how do you feel about this? And I looked at her and said, I'm fucking petrified of this new venture that I'm going down. I'm petrified. She's like, why are you petrified? I was like, who the fuck am I for anyone to listen to what I do?
Right.
Why? Why? And she's like, okay, good. She's like, I'm not even worried now, because if that thought of not good enough, that little one, right? You can't get stuck on it, right? And then go down a bad rabbit hole, but you can't go the other way of like, I'm the man. You have to have this balance between the two. Yes, you need a little I'm the man. Like I was outside playing basketball with my kids last night, and they were doing this shooting drill. It's hard shooting drill. And you miss sometimes. And I have a 9-year-old who can get in his head. I was like, no, man, you got to tell yourself the next one's going in. Next one's going in. Shooters shoot. The last one has nothing to do with the next one. So that's a little bit of that like narcissism, that, I'm the man.
Yeah.
But, that the altruism starts to be, okay, you got to go give to the game. You got to go put the work in with the game. You can't just be the man.
Yeah.
So we have to have this balance between, altruism and narcissism. So I think a healthy balance is important, right? Yeah. You hear people go the other way with it. All I do is give. Man, bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. You get something out of that.
Yeah.
And if you don't realize that, or if you're not balancing it, it comes to bite you in the ass.
Yep. Very true. Very true. Yeah, this is really good stuff, because this is like some of the deep stuff that we don't talk about with athletes and
men
in
general.
In general. Yeah.
Men in general. We have a really big male problem, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know what Europe is like, but America is awful, in my opinion.
I think it's all over the world. I think really.
Yeah.
Do you incorporate any, jiu-jitsu and fight training is a lot of mindset. It's a lot of, it's personal development in of itself. Do you incorporate or share stories about these experiences in your gyms when you're teaching?
This is this is the shift.
Yeah. This
was the shift for me is like, I'm super open.
Yeah.
I'm super open when I mess up, man, which I do. I try to talk about it. When I love you, I try to tell you that I love you. I genuinely love my students.
Yeah.
Some on a very individual level because I'm very close with them, and others on as a group. I went. I spend 2 months. I spend 2 months in Maui.
Yeah.
And a year, not this last time, but throughout the year, in month-long chunks normally. And I'm sad when I'm leaving because it's such a magical place for me. But I also am really excited to get back to my school and teach on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because these people saved me.
Yeah.
That Tuesday, Thursday class saved my life.
Yeah.
when I was struggling. I was like, okay, I just have to get to Tuesday and Thursday. Because if I get to Tuesday, then I'm going to go teach. And if I can just teach the most amazing class possible, then we'll build a community, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then that made me study, you know, jiu-jitsu a little more, like, cause you know, you're older. I fought, I have my game, but okay, I need to learn this newer game for these people that are coming up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, when I started, that class had like 5 people in it, because you know, and now we have 60. I had 60 people last night, and it's every Tuesday and Thursday. The intermediate class has 30, the advanced class has 60, and it's every Tuesday and Thursday, pretty much.
Nice.
And we really built this community. But for me, during that time, I was just like, okay, go get there and see them, and you won't be alone, because that was the fear, right? This loneliness. And then, I mean, I had to separate from that, but they being there for me and showing up for me really saved my life. And
that's cool.
And I probably taught really good jiu-jitsu, because that's the only way the class grows.
Yeah.
Right. So then I gave to them. So it was, the balance was there.
Yeah.
You know, the balance was really there. And so when I come back from Maui, I'm really excited to go see them.
Nice.
Like, I'm really excited. I genuinely love them and miss them. And you probably couldn't pay me an amount of money right now to not go teach that class. Like, I have 10-year goals,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, and I believe in you shoot that. Okay, this is where I want to go, way up here. What do I have to do? What do I have to do? What do I have to do? Okay, right. What do I have to do today to get there?
Right.
One of my 10-year goals is to still be teaching that class.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Because I love them.
I wanted to ask you about maintaining peak performance and the difference between when you were fighting and today. But I think it's also worth mentioning that, you know, doing this inner work that you're doing is about maintaining peak performance. And like a perfect example of this is your story. You couldn't be where you're at today if you didn't go through all the hard shit with the therapist and the doctors and being mm-hmm. in your darkest place. And that's an aspect of your best self, of maintaining your best self. You've got to visit the darkest parts of yourself in order to be stronger and to continue to grow and give, right?
You know, we talked earlier when you said, you know, you want to beat up the decade ago person, mm-hmm. you know, and I said that can't exist for me, and that won't exist for you either at some point.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and maybe it's this decade, maybe it's the 40s, right?
Yeah.
We don't know. And for me, because I was an athlete, no way. Right. Like Michael, the 40-year-old Michael Jordan was not beating the 30-year-old Michael Jordan. Not right. possible. Right. Even though the 40-year-old Michael Jordan might have been better than 95% of the other NBA players. He wasn't better than that Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You know? So, and I'm not saying that I was Michael Jordan whatsoever, but so I had to let go of this only physical being that is Eliot, this physical sense, mm-hmm. you know, because it was impossible, because all I was doing was physical, but I wasn't balancing. That got me in a lot of trouble mentally, you know? So a lot of my peak performance is based around who am I, mm-hmm. you know, and what is my overarching why, mm-hmm. you know, what is my why in the world? So now look, I still exercise. I train jiu-jitsu 2 to 3 times a week. I really can't physically handle more than that. Mm-hmm. I exercise, you know, I probably work out all of the other days. So I probably exercise 5 to 6 times a week. So I'm still physically okay, you know? And yeah, but a lot of it is this mental awareness, because that's what I feel like I can really give right now.
Yeah.
Is combining this jiu-jitsu mindset, this thing that we learn from fighting, because you're 42, right? You're in your 40s, mm-hmm. man, you're not getting in a cage, right? You know, you might do a competition and that will be really cool.
Yeah.
But it won't change your life whatsoever, right. Whether you win or lose that. So why the hell do you do jiu-jitsu, man?
I love it's a great workout. I love working out with other people. Mm-hmm. I feel like jiu-jitsu is kind of like a natural way to be, because as children, you know, we wrestle naturally and we roll around on the ground, puppy dog, same thing. Kittens, right? Also amazing cardio, amazing flexibility, amazing for mindset, and then confidence. Like it helps with confidence levels as well.
Yes.
And it helps other people.
It teaches you how to deal with adversity.
It teaches me how to deal with adversity. Yeah.
And it balances this. It balances you beating your partner up, but taking care of him too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you learn how to walk through the world better. Right? You have difficult conversations better.
Yeah.
I want you to try, like, the next time you're mad at somebody, right? And the next time you're like mad at somebody that like let's, I don't know, like your business partner or something, who knows? Try doing, before you talk, try doing jiu-jitsu first and then talking.
Yeah.
It breaks down all the emotional barrier.
Yeah.
Right. It breaks it down. And because you tried to beat him up and you had to take care of him.
Yeah.
And then you sit down and you talk.
Yeah.
Right. And it does something. It connects the humans better.
Yeah.
It takes away all of the outside bullshit.
Yeah.
How much money you have doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What car you drive doesn't matter. How hot your wife is doesn't matter.
Yeah.
How much power you have on the outside doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is this one skill on the mat.
Yeah.
And what that does to us is it puts us in the present moment.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're really trying to work on. Can I be present? Right? What is the next most skillful thing that I can do alive and do right now so that I stay alive, so that I don't get choked out or armbarred?
Yeah.
Okay. Take that to any aspect of your life, your marriage, your parenting, your business, any aspect. Because we often have these long, I want my wife to be that. I want my kids to this. No, man, I want my business to, what's the quarterly goal that I have to hit?
Right.
No, I have this question for you. What's the next most smallest step that you could take that will get you to there, that you could take, not what they could take, not what your wife can change, not what your kids can do better, right? Not what the outside world can give to you, that you can do, because that's all that matters in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
What's the next smallest thing you can do?
Yeah.
Not biggest. So that's why the rule number one for my life is I have to do jiu-jitsu.
I love it. I love it. All right. This is some great stuff. I've got some. Well, let's move into your entrepreneur career. Like we've talked about, your fighting career and then challenges with anxiety and depression. Before we do that, actually, I have one more question on that. Yeah. Did you change your training in exercise on a regular basis when you were dealing with the anxiety and depression and in the worst of times, even sleeping a couple hours a night? You still showed up to the gym.
I had some really great advice. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
That's fine. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
There was one night, through there, where it was the second night of no sleep and I woke up and I was not okay. Mm-hmm. And my wife looks at me and she goes, why don't you just pretend that you slept and go do your day like that? And I was like, okay. And I was halfway through the day, and my friend, Ian, one of the guys who was staying awake with me all night, he's the GM. At the time, he was the general manager of the Denver location. And that's where I was at too, and I am still at. Now he's the director of all of the GMs across Easton. And he knew how greatly I was struggling. It's like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and he comes and he puts a cup of coffee and he puts it on my desk. And he goes, drink that. And I'm like, homie, if I drink that, I'm not going to sleep tonight. He goes, Eliot, you're already not sleeping. It has nothing to do with coffee. He's like, what this coffee will do is make you feel better for an hour, right? For this next hour, you'll feel better. I was like, okay. And he goes, at 11:30, if you're not sleeping, I'll be on the phone with you. So I'll help you then too. So he was making me feel safe and telling me to worry about right now. And my wife said, just go fake it. Because I was doing all these other things to do the work, and the problem is a lot of times we want it to happen right now. And it doesn't, you can't change in it, right? Like I want it to change. Well, it takes work to change. So I was doing the work. So in each and every moment, you have to stick to the plan that you made, like for the day. And too many people get put off by how they're feeling that day. Oh, I'm tired.
Right.
Oh, I'm this. Right. Look, tired is a fleeting feeling, and so is motivated. They're both very fleeting. So what's the plan? Like Kobe said, the deal was made. So you make a deal in the beginning of each and every day. And then barring some craziness, right? Obviously, if there's an outside thing that you have to go deal with something else, right? You have to be able to pivot, right? But it has nothing to do with how I feel.
Right.
I said I was working out today. Guess what? I'm working out today. So I don't let how I feel and anything else interrupt the plan. Because when you do that, you have no discipline, right? You have to be disciplined. And every successful person is disciplined.
Yeah, 100%.
And again, that goes back to jiu-jitsu. I don't want to be mounted. I don't like your hand on my neck, but that's where the fuck I am right now, right? Like, and so how I feel about this does not matter.
Yeah. What's your daily routine like now?
I wake up, I meditate.
What time?
What time?
Yeah.
I wake up 6:30, right around 6:30 every day. So I wake up, I meditate. I have some coffee. I go sit outside. I like to read a little bit, then I come up. I do some consulting and computer work on, it depends on the day. Monday, Wednesday is some computer work. Tuesday, Thursday is more in the school work. When I say computer work, my podcast, the brands, yada, yada, things like that,
Got it, yeah.
And then Friday, it's a little bit of both, Saturday is a lot of teaching and coaching my kids in basketball. And Sunday's a little bit more of a chill day. It's a planned chill day. I allow myself to if I want to give into the feeling that day,
I do that on Sunday as well. I plan not to make plans and whatever.
I plan not to make plans. Now look, I have 2 young kids that play basketball, so I have tons of plans. Yeah. Right. Like they're really, really into basketball. So we're doing that. But I like, if I want to ride the bike, I ride the bike. If I don't want to, I don't have to. Yeah. Like things like that, So
and then afternoons,
you got to balance it. What's that?
Like afternoons, evenings? What
evening during time? My days?
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm Tuesday, Thursday, I work from, I do computer work in the morning, and then I leave and I teach the rest of the day, all noon till like 8:00 at night on Tuesday, Thursday. On Monday and Wednesday, I'm done at like 4:00 because it's just straight computer. It's just straight in this office, as my wife likes to say, talking to myself for no money.
That's what we do. Yeah.
She's like, do I have to hear you edit that one more time? Because it's like when you edit stuff, right? It's the same little clip of you over and over, Yeah. And like, you're not paying attention to it, but I'm sure it's really annoying to whoever else is just hearing you talk.
What about bedtime? Winding down for bed?
I don't really have a routine. Okay. I love to watch some shows. So, yeah, I don't really have a routine for bed.
Okay.
My wife and I go to bed, we watch TV together, and then we go to sleep.
Nice. And any diets that you stick to?
Intermittent fasting a little bit,
Okay.
I try to eat in a window.
Yeah.
So, and I was just on vacation, so obviously that broke.
Yeah. It always does when you travel. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard when you travel, and the diet thing is very hard for me because I had to be so strict when I was fighting, right? I had to lose 30 pounds every fight camp. Wow. So that's a lot of weight. And I wasn't fat then, Yeah. So, yeah, the diet thing can be hard for me. I wish I could do it. I go through phases of doing better, and doing worse. And I try to, I try to be the best I can.
Yeah.
And it can be, that one definitely is a little harder for me.
Yeah. Okay. So now you guys have 7 schools across Colorado, around 150 employees, 5,000 students. Is that what you said?
Right around there.
Right around there. And then doing about 6 million a year in revenue.
6 to 7 million. Yep.
That's incredible. And you started Easton Training Center, and you started that was it 2012?
So my business partner, Amal, had small jiu-jitsu schools, a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I retired from fighting, and literally, so I fought my last fight on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And then that Tuesday, I looked at the building that the Denver school is now in, that I later then purchased.
Okay.
And then we just moved, I bought into the Denver school,
mm-hmm.
and then it worked, and we did Boulder the same way. Like, I bought the building, and then we bought into the business, and yada, yada. And we just kept going. And we only, for the most part, hire from within,
mm-hmm.
Students. All of our general managers right now are students first.
Mm-hmm.
And we took these really amazing mat lessons and implemented them in the business.
Yeah.
Got some business help, set up an org chart, set up an accountability chart, learn how to make goals, learn how to move, learn how to follow it. And now I don't have to do it. Now, I'm the figurehead.
Yeah.
My business partner and I are the figureheads. We have a CEO, we have I don't know what you call them. We call it an integrator. We have an integrator. We have,
mm-hmm.
A director of operations, like all of these things. And, I get to get put on a pedestal and try to get myself off of it. So that's one end of my life, and then I do this other entrepreneurial back end. We have a consulting business where we help other martial arts schools try to do their business well, because most of them don't, right?
Very true.
Most people that run martial arts schools are just good at the martial art.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another piece to this.
Yeah.
And they keep running into the very constant problem. They have an instructor. They can't hold instructors. They can't hold staff members. They don't follow up with their leads, yada, yada, because we spent too much time on the mat getting good,
Right. They're not business people.
They're not business people. So I believe there's a way to balance this. So we have a consulting business that helps martial arts schools. It's called Easton Online,
mm-hmm.
Do their martial art. And then I have my personal brand, here where, thought leadership, where, I do my podcast. I'm trying to get into keynote speaking. I actually just hired an agent to help me with that. I'm running these retreats, right now they've just been Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu retreats with male focused Jiu-Jitsu retreats where,
mm-hmm.
We go to Maui, and it's great fun. And, I'm trying to move into the executive retreat where I'm not going to change it much. We're going to get on a mat, we're going to do really hard things, like day one, we wake up, we meditate on the beach, we drive to the jiu-jitsu school, we train, and then we go jump off a rock, into the ocean, just because I don't think you can separate. You have to learn how to deal with adversity. You have to learn how to deal with your fear, you have to learn how to work with a team.
Yeah.
And that's something else that I'm building into the retreat. And it's the easiest place to learn how to do this stuff is in the hard physical place.
Yeah.
Right. Because it gets very compartmentalized, like jiu-jitsu, right? Oh my God, I'm mounted, so I want to take I want to take the executive team of, Google, I'm like, let's go get on the mat, lay your ass down. I'm mounting you. You're not getting out,
Yeah.
And then teach them the systems of how to get out.
Yeah.
What's the next smallest thing that you could do right to get out of the mount? Okay, great. We do that. We have fun. We go eat some Hawaiian food. Yay. Then we go sit in the room. Okay. What's the next smallest thing you can do with your business right now and today? After you just beat them up. So their egos are broken, right? Everyone speaks more kindly to themselves after we do that.
Mm-hmm.
The team works better, yada, yada. So that's my plan. That's my entrepreneurship. I do it terribly. I do the actual thing really well.
Right.
I think. Like, I can podcast pretty well. Like I like we're having a great conversation. I hope it's good for you.
Yeah.
I do the retreat really well, getting the word out.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat. Like, we do retreats really well. Like, we can implement them really well. My problem is I never give myself enough time to build for a retreat because I get excited about another one. You do that too? It looks.
Oh my God, dude! Okay, so I'm doing one in December. I would like to do an executive one and a jiu-jitsu one, like back to back, since I'm in Maui anyway, right? I'm actually planning for it now in August. Like the last time I was just in Maui a month ago, 2 weeks ago, a week ago. And at the beginning of that trip, I did one. And the beginning of that trip was like June 23rd. And I booked that trip May 1st.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck it. Let's do a retreat. And I'm trying to sell it last minute, right?
Great party, right?
I'm going. Everybody else should come. And then people are like, yo, dude, I can't just pick up and go to Maui in a month. Yeah. And then you're scrambling, because I'm not charging $50. Like if there's $50, then yeah, sure. Right. I'm charging $3,000.
Yeah.
So, $3,000, convincing your spouse or your other,
especially if you have a family and kids, that's hard to get away. Yeah.
But that's my market, right? Like a 20-year-old doesn't have $3,000 to come to Maui with me.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I'm getting better. I'm planning now, Chris. We're going to try to sell it out by September.
Rule of thumb, like the best or most profitable retreats that I've done is I've given myself more like 8 to 9 months to build. And once the retreat is set, the date is set and everything. And I was actually, when we were in Boulder doing our event a couple of weeks ago, one of the doctors that we worked with, he said, I always give myself 18 months. And I was like, 18 months? That seems like so far. It was like 18 months. Like you'll help yourself. So like consistency, repetitiveness, and then, having a place to go back to. It's like the annual event here and here is what we're working on, because I've seen that work in the past. So
I'm trying to do 2 a year right now.
Yeah.
2
a year is good.
2 years good. So I'm planning for the end of the year one now, and hopefully I'll sell it out by September.
Yeah. How many spots do you have for that?
So this is how I believe that I've done a good job. Is everyone that's gone on the last two said they're like, yo, I am in for December, right? But I don't want to just block it off. So I'm trying to figure that out. I think I'm going to do, but the small is better.
It's more intimate.
Small is, it's way more intimate. I'm probably going to block it at 15.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to cap it at 15 or so.
Yeah.
So, nice. That's what I'm trying to figure out. But yeah, I'm going to offer it to my old guys first, like my alumni.
Yeah.
And then say, hey, look, here you go. Come on. But I think one of the best things I had with the retreat was on this last one. There was somebody on the retreat, and you could see on day one, he wasn't quite feeling it. And this is why I say I do it well. I don't do anything else well with it, but I do it well. He wasn't quite feeling it. You could just see how he was acting. He's like, this is okay, but holy fuck, it's, I paid $3,000 and yada, yada, And then at dinner on the last night, he looks at me and he goes, hey man, so I would really love to get grandfathered in at this price that you charge right now, that you charged me this time, but it is way too cheap. Like this is way too cheap for what I got out of this. Yeah. So I was like, oh, boom, done, home run. That's what you want. You don't want someone who's coming and loving it and then stays loving it. That's cool, but you want to convert. you know,
100%.
You want to convert. So, so that was good. Now I just have to do a better job on the other piece.
So if people listening if they're interested, is there a place they can find more info or sign up for the newsletter
So go to my website, eliotmarshall.com. Right. And right now, like right on the top, you can get my morning routine that I do.
Yeah.
And that will put you on my email list. And then in 2 weeks, I think, a week, something like that, you'll start getting emails to wait list for the retreat if you are interested. So you can wait list for that retreat, and then the spots will open. I'll have the cart open for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then that'll be it. So yeah, eliotmarshall.com. And
is this for the execs, Eliot, or for just jiu-jitsu?
The execs one, I'm still getting that web page together. The execs one, I want one team. I don't want an exec from over here and an exec from over here. So I'm still working that part out, right? I want like Geico's sales team. Yep. Right? Because the team building stuff, we're going to take the team building of something very physically hard outside in nature. Yeah. This hike that we do, where like, look, I got to take care of you and you got to take care of me. So that team build, and then we're going to go back to the room and put it together with the team. Yeah. Any executive can come on the personal one. Nope. Right. Like where it's like you and Steve and, and then will do a very similar thing, but it won't be super focused on your business.
Yeah. I'm curious, what's the difference between Eliot the fighter and Eliot the entrepreneur?
Nothing.
Yeah?
Nothing. Eliot the entrepreneur is probably more skillful.
In what
regard? Eliot the entrepreneur is okay with failing. I'm okay with coming on here and saying I'm terrible at this.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't so good at that as the fighter. I was not okay with my, with my weaknesses. I was not okay with my shortcomings.
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to get good with my shortcomings. And then, I had to also realize, okay, that maybe that's a shortcoming of mine. Great. Find somebody else to do it. Yeah. Find somebody who's not their shortcoming. That's not their shortcoming. Rather than, you always hear this, work on your weaknesses to a point, right? Like, I have to understand how to build a website. That means I have to go build 20 of them, 20 landing pages, right? But man, there's people that crush this.
Yeah.
So why would blue belt or purple belt Eliot build websites when what black belt Eliot does well is get on this microphone, talk to people, inspire people, run the retreat, yada yada, right? That's what black belt Eliot does. Mm-hmm. So can we focus more on being a better black belt? Because I can always speak better. I can always improve the message better. I can always show up better. Mm-hmm. So do that, Eliot. Get better at that. And then hire these other things. Where with my fighting career, I fell in love with striking, and I never got really good at it. And so I would just keep it on my feet and touch and not get hit. But this was because I could hit and not get hit really well. Mm-hmm. But Floyd Mayweather doesn't knock anybody out. Right.
It's true.
And I'm not saying I was Floyd Mayweather by any means with my striking, but it doesn't make for the most exciting fight. No one leaves a Mayweather fight going, that was really exciting. Well, no one left most of my UFC fights, and a couple of them, but not most of them. And so I don't know, where was I going with this? So but my strength was grappling, but I went away from it rather than be like, okay, how can I use my striking to really, like Khabib, right? Khabib got his striking good enough so that he was very, very competent, very, very competent. But then once he got you on the floor, you drowned.
There's no getting out. Yeah.
Every time. He knew he was going to get you down. He knew he was going to drown you, and he knew it, right? Yeah. So I needed to focus. I should have done that rather than this other thing,
Yeah.
So that's a piece of it, right? Now this fighter, Eliot, look, part of my getting better process was really knowing who I am, and I make these agreements every morning. It's part of my routine. So I during my meditation afterwards, I show some gratitude for the world right away. Like I pray, I get on my knees, but again, not in a religious way, just, me and God, however you want to look at that. And, I make agreements with myself, I just make the 4 agreements, and then I always state who I am. And I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a teacher, I'm a student, and I balance them. I'm a student, I'm a fighter, and I'm a survivor. The first 3 are what I have to go give to the world: father, husband, teacher. The next 3, student, fighter, survivor, those are for me. Yeah. And all of those combined make me enough.
What type of meditation practice are you doing?
I don't really.
Just whatever.
I just whatever. I'm not like super like, oh, you have to do this one, Yeah. I have this lady on YouTube. It's called The Mindful Movement, and I fucking love listening to her. And she puts me in a really good spot. And sometimes I do some quiet ones, some unguided. Sometimes, the first meditation I ever did was with Sam Harris. So sometimes I'll go back to his. I haven't gotten super particular on that, and then I have some things that I do. Like I have these mala beads, just to kind of remind me, like when I touch them, it puts me in the moment. My I ams
use really to count what your blessings, right? Like what's no,
I just touch them, and I hold them when I meditate. So when I touch them again, it brings some peace and calm for me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, nope. Like, what is it? Neuro processing or something. I don't know what it is, where you do the physical and it brings the mind back to,
Gotcha.
My I ams are really important to me. They're really, really important to me because one of them is always really necessary. in my life. Really seldom, you know, you asked the fighter thing. Very seldom does fighter have to show up, you know, but father has to show up all the time, you know, and that's what I'm always, that's really how I focus my life, whether it be in an entrepreneurial sense, whether it be in an actual fatherly sense, whether I have these young kids, you know, they're 12 and 9. And so, you know, my oldest is about to hate me, right? But right now he still loves me, you know, he's not a teenager yet. And they think I'm Superman. So they have this image of who their dad is, as we all did, right? So my goal every day is to be the man that they think I am. And I know I'm going to fall short, right? I know it's not possible. I know it's a pedestal that I can't quite reach, but I sure can try.
Right.
So when I go to work, okay, am I being the man that I would really be proud of my kids to be? You know, when I'm talking to somebody, when I'm mad at somebody, when I'm comforting my wife, when I'm upset with my wife, when I'm talking to a friend, when I'm mad at a friend, when I'm neutral, when I'm with them, right? Like if this is the man that I want those kids to be? So that is really always what my North Star is. So it's something to wake up and point at every day. And then go, okay, this is where I fell short. Okay, no problem. It's okay. Give myself grace for that, you know, and then go, okay, Eliot, work on this.
Nice.
And that's how I go through my life.
I want to start wrapping up here, Eliot, and I want to ask you, I mean, I've loved this show, like diving into, especially your really dark time with depression and anxiety. Getting to know the person, like the raw side of you, has been absolutely incredible. Do you have any other things you'd like to leave the listeners with before we wrap up?
Go do hard things.
I like that.
Go do very physically hard things. Jiu Jitsu, Muay Thai, work out intensely. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop chasing, you know?
Yeah.
Don't stop chasing. You can always be more skillful. Don't worry about anybody else. You know, don't worry about being Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or Joe Rogan. And you know, if you're a podcaster or, you know, who's the best CEO in the world, I don't know, like Gary V, like don't worry about them. Just be a little better than you were yesterday. Only compete with you, you know, only compete with you. Get really, really clear on who you are. You know, like those things that I stated, who I am, they're unshakable. They'll never change. When will I not be my kid's father? When I die, I'm still going to be their father.
Yeah.
You know, even if my wife were to leave me, we would still have that bond of husband and wife that would always have been true. Right. I'm always a teacher. Somebody will always be like, you know what, Eliot is or was my teacher. You know, I will always be a student. I'm always learning. Fighter, you cannot take that away from me. You know, you just can't. And look, the only thing you, me, and everyone else in the entire world that is breathing right now, the only thing you've never failed at, and I've never failed at, is surviving. You know, is surviving. I'm perfect. I'm undefeated. Me, the only thing that me and the internet are the same is that, right? Like undefeated. So other than that, man, and I try to realize, and this is really important for me to say here, you know, because we're doing this, like, how does Eliot do his life thing?
Right.
I fuck this up all the time, all the time. I am nowhere near perfect, you know? And I don't think anybody wants to see perfect, really. I try to model the journey of imperfection.
Yeah.
You know, of imperfection. I'm not a perfect human. I yell at my kids when I shouldn't. I get ticked off at my wife when I shouldn't. I get pissed at an employee when I shouldn't, right? Like all of these things happen. I miss waking up on time, right? Today it happened. You know, my wife wanted to stay up late watching shows last night. So, you know, we were up to like 1 o'clock. I was like, fuck, you know, and I messed it up. You know, and I blew it, you know, like that's why I hesitated for a second when you said, what time did you wake up? What time do you wake up? I wake up at 6:30. Today I messed up. You know, who cares? Okay. Wake up tomorrow at 6:30.
Yeah.
You know, like, so, I don't want anyone to ever take away from this, be like, God damn, that dude's got it figured out. No, I don't. You know, and my online program, I like to call it the Blueprint, you know, which is where I help people, like, you know, set up their life. And I call it the Blueprint for a reason. Everything has a blueprint. A house has a blueprint, right? Your house has a blueprint. Yes. Mm-hmm. It's probably very similar to mine. The way the walls are structured, mm-hmm. there has to be a foundation poured. Mm-hmm. Like you have to use this kind of stud and this kind of plumbing. Now, I do not have a small TV like that in my room like you do. Mm-hmm. Because you go then get to do the interior design, the specifics, you get to go do that all on your own. Right. Same with your life. Do the specifics of your life however you would like, and it works for you. But the most successful people all have a very similar blueprint.
I love that. If the listeners want to reach out and learn more about what you have going on, Eliot, where's the best place they can do that?
Look, you can go sign up on my email list, eliotmarshall.com, on my website. And I'm really I try to really respond on Instagram. So I'm at Fire Marshall. That was my nickname when I was fighting. Yeah. 205. I'm not 205 anymore, so don't make fun of me for being fat. I won't respond. And then, yeah, that's where I do most of my, LinkedIn. I really try to respond on LinkedIn as well. I'm trying to build my LinkedIn profile. They say that's good for this new field that I'm getting into,
Yeah.
So,
they say that. I still haven't figured LinkedIn out.
I can't figure out what
12 years, 13 years.
Yeah, I can't figure.
Yeah.
And man, if I could leave the listeners with two things, it's those two posters that are behind me. Mm-hmm. It's the Martin Luther King, and that quote is, darkness can't drive out darkness. Only light can that. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that.
Love it.
So let's try to first love ourselves, like really, really love yourself. And then let's try to go love other people for their good and their bad.
Nice.
And then the second quote to the left of it is Teddy Roosevelt, the man in the arena.
Yes, great quote.
The critics don't count. Just keep walking into the arena.
Yeah.
Look, I was not a champion. I wasn't close to being a champion in the UFC. But, as the end of that quote says, my face will never be marred. I will never be with those cold and timid souls.
Yeah.
Who know neither victory nor defeat. Because if you're going to know victory, there is one sure path. Mm-hmm. And you have to look at defeat in the face.
I love it. Love it. I think that's a perfect way to end a podcast. Yeah. Eliot, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all your tips and tricks and wisdom with us. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks for having me on, Chris. I really appreciate it. And man, I'd love to return the favor maybe and have you on mine.
Oh, maybe we could do that.
Yeah.
Listeners, thank you guys for tuning in once again, and we'll see you all on the next episode. Goodbye, everybody.